Do you ever notice how you can be so aware of yourself and still do the same things? Like you know your triggers and you can explain all of your patterns and you understand exactly where everything comes from. But then you're in the middle of a conversation and you still send that extra paragraph trying to make sure that they understand you. Or you tell yourself that you're completely done with someone and then you go back. Or you say you're not going to do something, but then the guilt hits and you say yes anyway. So it raises a real question. If awareness is supposed to change things, then why doesn't it? Hi, everybody. I am Jackie Faber, and I have spent almost 3 decades inside of personal development. For the longest time, I thought that awareness was the goal. If I could just understand myself deeply enough, then everything would shift. So every single time something came up, I would look at it, I would analyze it, I would process it, and I got really good at that. I could tell you exactly why I reacted the way I did, where it came from, what it meant, which part was being activated. And for the longest time, all of this felt like progress. But then I would be right back in the same situation, doing the exact same thing. And this is when I became to realize that awareness can actually become addictive because it gives you a sense of control. It makes you feel like you're doing something, like you're moving forward, like you're working on yourself, even when your behavior is not actually changing. So you feel something uncomfortable and you try to understand it, or you get triggered and you go into processing. You replay the conversation, you think about what it meant, try to figure out why it affected you. And then eventually you feel better. So your system learns that when I feel something I don't like, I go into awareness and I get relief. And again, there is nothing wrong with awareness. It is incredibly important. But awareness is only happening after the fact or when you're calm. It doesn't actually change what you do in the moment because in the moment, there is actually something driving your behavior. And this is the part that shifted everything for me. I stopped asking, why am I like this? And I started noticing what is happening inside of me right now. Because underneath every single pattern, there is something moving you. Like you're not just over explaining in a conversation, there's a reason you can't stop. You're not just going back to that toxic relationship. There's a reason it feels hard to stay away. You're not just checking your phone. There is something you're trying to confirm. And most of the time, it's happening so fast that most people don't even see it. You just feel this urge and you follow it. So you can be incredibly aware and still feel like you're watching yourself doing the same thing over and over again. I'll give you a real example. So recently, my business started to slow down. So I started applying for jobs. I got offered an interview, and every single part of my body said no. There was no fear, there was no nerves. It was just a very clear no. And before I would have overridden that, I would have told myself that this is the smart thing to do. I need to be responsible. And I would have done the interview even though it didn't feel right. That is what self abandonment actually looks like. It's not always obvious. It's choosing something that doesn't feel right because it makes sense, or because it avoids discomfort, or because it feels safer in that moment. But this time I didn't go, not because I had more awareness. I already had that. It was because something deeper had shifted in the way that I relate to myself during those moments. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, I can see this in myself, that's the first step. But this is also where most people get stuck because seeing it once or understanding it when you're calm is not the same thing as catching it while it happens. When you're in the middle of a conversation and you're about to send that text message, when you feel that pull to fix it or to do something, that is where this actually matters. And even if you can see it, that doesn't always mean you stop yourself. Because the moment you don't follow that pull, it starts to feel uncomfortable, like something is unfinished or it's off or like you need to do something. Most people do not have the ability to stay there. So they go right back into their old pattern. And that's why awareness alone doesn't change it. Because this isn't just about understanding yourself. There's another layer to this that most people are not learning how to see clearly. And that is the work that I do. So if this is something that you're starting to notice within yourself, I have 2 ways that you can go deeper into this. The first is the recognition manual. And that's where I start teaching you to see what is happening underneath your behavior while it is happening, not after, not in reflection, in real time. And the second is the self safety lab. And that is where we learn how to build capacity to stay with yourself without needing to fix it or resolve it or reach for something outside of you, because that is the part that actually changes your behavior. I'll link both of those below. Awareness isn't enough. Capacity to stay is where change actually happens. I will see you in the next video.